Alright, what's up everyone, I'm Filoki, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about Greg Olsen retiring from the NFL and joining Fox Sports to be an NFL analyst. Now, of course, Greg Olsen is someone who has a lot of respect in the NFL. He had a great career, a long career, and now he's going to go and make a lot more money after his career's over to go and be a part of Fox Sports, something like Tony Romo, and I don't think he's going to be making as much as Tony Romo, but still, even a fourth or a fifth of what Tony Romo is making is going to be really good for after your career. As I mentioned before, Greg Olsen had a great long career, most of which was with the Panthers, and he was an elite tight end. He finished off his career with Seattle, but with Greg Olsen now retiring from the NFL after one season in Seattle, let's take a look at some of the great things he did with Seattle.
Now, me personally, after today, Greg Olsen is cut from the team. Now, this might be an overreaction, but Russell Wilson, he threw the ball right to Greg Olsen's face. All he had to do was close his hands. He had to catch the ball. But what did he do? He let it fly off of his hands, and it ended up being a pick six. Now, Russell Wilson, he gets an interception. He gets a pick six for that. That should not at all go on Russell Wilson. That should be 100% Greg Olsen. I mean, that is Greg Olsen's fault. Russell Wilson did nothing wrong. I swear, Greg Olsen, I don't think he got a target after that, and that is well deserved. He completely fumbled the bag. He completely failed. I hate Greg Olsen now. I mean, it's just an overreaction right now, I hope.
Wow, see, now that's awesome. Greg Olsen, amazing career in Seattle. He had an amazing year this year, and obviously this is all jokes. Of course, that one play was really bad, and that's kind of something that I remembered Greg Olsen for the entire first half of the season, but he definitely proved himself to be a much better guy than that. Obviously, bad dropped pass for a pick six, lost me my fantasy game. I was quite upset about it that week. In the entire scheme of things, it really didn't end up mattering. We still beat the Patriots. We went 12-4. We made it to the playoffs. Didn't do great in the playoffs, but I mean, I have nothing but respect for Greg Olsen. He had definitely a good season with Seattle. He wasn't uber productive. He wasn't super crazy like that. He didn't really get the usage that he did get earlier on in his career with the Panthers. And I mean, that's mainly because we have so many great tight ends on the roster in Seattle. And Greg Olsen, I mean, he was a reliable pair of hands. That's really what his job was to be. He had a lot of third down, fourth down catches that really mattered. He had some nice catches, and he caught the ball when he needed to. Of course, not that one play, but I have nothing but respect for Greg Olsen. I think he had a great year in Seattle. And even though he only had 200-ish yards, a little bit over, and a touchdown, I still think when you look at every single play that he took, he had some really tough catches that really mattered in some of our games, kept a lot of possessions alive. I think that he had a good year with us. But what makes the season in Seattle for Greg Olsen great for me is not actually the production he had on the field, it's the resilience that he ended up showing throughout the year. And I mean, Greg Olsen, he's an old guy. If he gets injured, a pretty big injury, he could have just called it quits and he could have just left early, and he could have just decided that, yeah, maybe it's just not worth to put my body on the line while I'm this old, just call it quits. But he didn't. He had a plantar fascia injury, a torn plantar fascia. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but that is an insane injury for someone that's old like Greg Olsen was when it comes to, football relative. Then that's an injury that he could have easily said, yeah, I'm done with the NFL. I'm going to leave the NFL. This is just kind of the last straw. And everyone probably would have understood it. That injury was supposed to keep him out for months. It could have been a season-ending injury. And this dude came back in 3 or 4 weeks because he wanted to help the team in the playoff push. He wanted to help the team in the playoffs. And although we didn't do great in the playoffs, I respect Greg Olsen insanely for that decision. He could have easily hung up the cleats. He could have easily left football after that horrible injury. And he could have just said, yeah, I'm not coming back this season because why would I? That's just too much risk on my body. But he didn't. He decided he wanted to come back. That is something that I think gained him a lot of respect from a lot of people, including myself. Now, Greg Olsen going to Fox Sports to be an NFL analyst isn't anything that came out of the blue for him. He's had this in the works for a while. I'm pretty sure last year in 2019 with the Panthers, he actually did do an NFL game. I think he did some XFL games too as well. I mean, he's had this in the works. He's had this contract for a while, I believe. But he came back to play with Seattle for 1 year, $7 million. I mean, that's a good amount of money, so I'd assume that's more money than he would have made being an analyst. So I assume he's going to be getting paid less than $7 million. I mean, he came back, he played another year of football. He showed that he can still catch. He showed that he can still play. He's obviously not the amazing tight end that he was early on in his career, but I mean, he definitely gained a lot of respect from me in that last season. He had some great catches, obviously the resilience on the injury, but this is something that Greg Olsen obviously knew would be a great idea for him whenever he finished his career. And I think it's a great idea for him too. I mean, you're going to be making money after your career, continue to make a lot of money because you're an ex-NFL player, going to be an analyst, so of course they're going to want you there. And I mean, he gets to stay around football. That's a great thing for anyone, to stay around the sport that you love. I mean, this is a great move from Greg Olsen. There's really no question about it. I think that he's not going to be making as much money as Tony Romo, but he's still going to be making some good money to be an NFL analyst. And I mean, I have nothing but respect for him. His decision to retire, it definitely, he could have retired last season. No one would have even batted an eye. He decided to come back. He could have decided to retire once he had that bad injury, but he decided to come back. And, you know, he gained a lot of respect from me in this last season, mainly because he was on the Seahawks, my favorite team. But still, Greg Olsen, great career for him, great year in Seattle. And honestly, I hope him the best of luck going into these next years whenever he's an NFL analyst. I hope he does well. I hope he gets paid. And honestly, I hope everything works out for Greg Olsen. A lot of respect from me. But with that, that's going to do it for this video. Of course, Greg Olsen, everyone knows, amazing career, amazing guy, a lot of respect in the NFL. So him doing this, I don't think anyone's going to be mad at him for going and chasing the bag and being an NFL analyst like Tony Romo did. So, I mean, this is a great move for him. Let me know down below in the comments what you think about this. Let me know what you think about Greg Olsen's last season of his career with Seattle. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and with that, I'd like to thank you for watching. Have a great day.